As soon as Father Pieper gave me the topic for today, Virgin Most Powerful, I immediately thought of this story. A woman tells it. She said that after watching the movie Cinderella, her 5-year-old daughter started using her pinwheel as a magic wand, pretending that she was the fairy godmother. So she said to her mother, "Mom, make 3 wishes and I will grant them." And the mother's first wish was for world peace. And the little girl swung her wand and said, "Mom, your wish has been granted." And then the mother said, "Well, now for my second wish, I wish that all the ill children in the world would be cured." And again, the little kid swept the pinwheel and said, "Mom, your prayer, your wish has been granted." And the woman said, because she is somewhat of a large woman, her third wish was this: "I wish to have a trim figure again." And the little 5-year-old fairy godmother started waving her wand madly. And then she turned to her mother and she said, "Mommy, I'll need more power for this." Folks, I am convinced that we who come here to the shrine of the Miraculous Medal know that in heaven we have someone with unlimited power, someone who can help us whenever we need help. And that someone, of course, is our Blessed Mother. All we have to do is to approach her in prayer and ask her to enter into our life in a very special way and to help us in our need. In the delightful book, Children's Letters to God, a little girl writes, "Dear God, we just heard in Sunday school about the miracle of the parting of the Red Sea. Well, God, my sister Tina has a girlfriend, Wendy, who never stops talking. It would take a miracle to shut her up. Have you got any left?" Folks, I don't think I have to tell you, God has a lot of miracles left. And I do believe that He is willing to work them through the intercession of our Blessed Mother, Mary, who truly is powerful enough to help us when we are in need, when we need help. We need help when we go to the doctor and the doctor says, "I think you have cancer." We need help when we get that phone call in the middle of the night telling us that a loved one has been in an accident or a loved one has gone to the hospital. We need help when we are having family problems. We need help when we're having problems at work. We need help when a loved one is dying or a loved one has died. They tell a story of a platoon of soldiers who had just completed a 25-mile march carrying a full field pack. And when the soldiers expected to camp there overnight and return to the base in the morning. But then a message came in which said that all the members of the platoon who were physically able must march back to the post immediately. And so the platoon commander lined up the troops and he read the message to them. And he said, "All men who do not feel that they are physically able to make the return march take 3 steps forward." And immediately the entire platoon stepped forward, except for one short, anemic-looking private. And the officer walked up to him and he said, "Son, I want you to know that the United States Army is proud of you." And the private looked at the captain and said, "I really don't know why, sir. I just didn't have the strength to walk 3 more steps." Hey, folks, isn't it true? At times, we can identify with that soldier. We are suffering and we are hurting so much. Things are going so badly for us. The cross weighs so heavily on our back that we don't seem to have the strength to go on. Came across this little item recently. It's the story of an insurance agent who was teaching his wife how to drive, when all of a sudden the brakes failed on the car, and now they were going down a steep hill. And she yelled out to her husband, "I can't stop, I can't stop. What should I do?" And the husband said, "Brace yourself and try to hit something cheap." Folks, let's go back to that question. What do we do? What should we do when things are going badly, when we are in trouble, when we don't seem to have the strength to go on? In an emergency, you know what we need to do? We need to turn to our Blessed Mother. We need her help. We need her strength to go on. In an episode of my favorite comic strip, Peanuts, Lucy is holding a football, and she says, "Charlie Brown, I have a great idea. I'll hold the football, and then you come over running up and kick it." And Charlie said, "I wouldn't try that for $1 million. You're not going to hold it. You're going to pull it away at the last moment, and I'll fall flat on my face." And now Lucy begins to cry. She begins to cry really out loud. And she said, "Oh, Charlie Brown, you don't trust me. You think I'm no good. You have no faith in me." And Charlie says, "Oh, please, Lucy, stop crying. I apologize. I'm sorry. You hold the ball, and I'll come running up and kick it." She holds the ball. He runs up to kick it, and at the very last moment, she pulls the ball away, and he falls flat on his face. And now Lucy smiles and says, "Never trust a crying woman, Charlie Brown. Never trust a crying woman." You know, folks, we may not be able to trust a crying woman, but we can trust our Blessed Mother. In fact, I am here this morning to tell you we must trust her. We must trust her completely, or we will never be able to experience peace of mind and heart when we're suffering and when things are going badly. I leave you with this story. They tell the story of a priest who had a very deep devotion to our Blessed Mother. He prayed to her often, asking her help when he had a problem, when he was suffering. He always begged her to intercede for him to her son Jesus. Also, he would preach about her as often as he could. And the story goes that he died. And now after his death, he made his way to heaven, and he was brought face to face with St. Peter. And he said, "St. Peter, I am Father John McNamara." And as St. Peter checked the entry list, there was a moment of hesitation because his name was not readily to be found. So Peter went off to consult our blessed Lord. And he said, "Jesus, there's a priest here who wants to come in. His name is Father John McNamara." And they say Jesus let out a sigh and said, "Oh, let him in. My mother has been nagging me about him for years. Hey, folks, you want to know something? I believe that is the role of our Blessed Mother. The role of our Blessed Mother in our life is to nag Jesus, so to speak, to intercede for us, to come to him with our problems and our worries and our concerns that we bring to her. I really believe that Mary's role is to make sure that we enter the kingdom of heaven. On a personal note, I would like to believe that I have a very deep devotion to our Blessed Mother. I would like to believe that I preach about her as often as I can. And I hope and pray that after I die, Jesus might be able to say to St. Peter, "Oh, let him in. My mother has been nagging me about him for years." Folks, today we're talking about Mary, the most powerful Mary. I believe that our Blessed Mother is powerful enough to get each of us into the kingdom of heaven. Let's continue our Mass. Let's continue our novena. Let us thank Mary, Virgin most powerful, for always being with us now and at the hour of our death. Amen.